This campaign is no good.
No good!
Darren and Larry, the original Mad Men on Bewitched.
Hello, I'm John Malos, and welcome to Connect with Me, live on the showroom floor at Ventura TV, Comcast 187 and 43.6. Today we're going to be talking about the state of the city of Fresno. No, the mayor's not going to be here. Dennis Hart of KMJ is going to be here, and your phone calls are certainly more than encouraged and welcome. 265-4331. What is the state, the economic state of the city of Fresno? We'll find out in just a moment. And we're back to the same old story. The state, the economic state, that is, of the city of Fresno. What is it? Well, you know, obviously, last week we found out that actually this garbage disposal issue, it's going to go to the voters. It's going to go up for a vote sometime in June. At least that's what we think at this point. They got more than 27,000 valid signatures, which means they could put that issue on the ballot. But on the 28th of this month, it's going to go back to the city council. They'll decide whether or not to rescind their original vote or, yeah, send it to the public and see what they say about it. But the question is, and always has been, as we roll the videotape and take a look at some of these people that are picking up and doing their good service each and every week here in the city of Fresno, the garbage workers. The problem is, what kind of economic state does this leave our city in? We're about $5 million in the hole right now. If this thing goes to a vote, it will cost the city an additional $1 million, so that's $6 million right there. If they decide to, you know, rescind this thing and just go back to the original, we're still in the same state. But you know, the city of Fresno is crying the blues that we don't have enough money. They've always cried, we don't have enough money. They take money and take money, but what do we have to show for it? We're $5 million bucks in the hole. It's the same old story. So how far or how close to the cliff are we? Are the unions of this town pushing the city over the cliff or about to push it over the cliff? We're going to talk to our media expert today, Dennis Hart, live in our studio right now from KMJ. He's been following this issue. He covers the courts for KMJ. He covers City Hall with KMJ. He knows this issue inside out, and we've covered it many times here. The question is the unions. Will fire stations have to close? The unions, it always goes back to the unions. We've got the fire and the police. Can't touch them until 2015. But you know, we still have a financial crisis in this city. Whether it goes private or not, we still have a budget deficit, a gap we've got to fill. Your phone calls, 265-4331. We're back on Connect with Me on Me TV Fresno in just a moment.
Frigidaire. It means the first electric refrigerator, the first room air conditioner, the first compact electric range. It means a history of innovations that give you the best results and make your home life better. And now we introduce our latest innovation in cooking, the Frigidaire Gallery range with Symmetry double ovens. It's designed to cook multiple dishes at multiple temperatures, so you can prepare the entire meal at the same time. And our latest innovation in cleaning, the Frigidaire Orbit Clean Dishwasher. Its unique wash arm gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
You know, in a way, being in the media or having a talk show and people that work in the media, we kind of relish this kind of a situation because it gives us something to talk about. But Dennis, very serious situation for the city of Fresno. Yeah. It's no laughing matter, is it?
No, it's not. The city is really on the edge of a fiscal cliff right now, and this is a battle royal between the unions and Mayor Swearingen at this point. They have drawn the line. They've decided this trash issue is the one they're drawing the line in. No more, no concessions, no give, etc. And unfortunately, the city's financial health is in the balance right now.
We always come back to this issue.
Right.
We always come back to the last few times that you've been here.
Yes.
This has been the major topic of conversation, and once again it is.
I think at this point it's the biggest issue facing the city. Here's the deal. We have, as you pointed out a couple of seconds ago, a $5 million budget hole. This trash proposal, this garbage privatization, would bring in $1.5 million for a signing fee and $2.5 million in annual franchise fees for the city.
But we're still left with that budget gap.
The mayor, because the economy has been horrendous, through none of the mayor's doing. She inherited a mess, okay, from the previous administration. Okay, let's just say that. The economy collapsed. We've laid off gotten rid of 900 positions in the city since the mayor's been in office because there's no money for it. We've cut $100 million in spending. Property tax revenues have plummeted. Sales tax revenues have plummeted. There's no more to cut. So now we're down to privatizing garbage collection, residential garbage collection. The union, doing what unions do, protecting its jobs. Okay, that's what it's 130 jobs.
Protecting their workers.
About. Right, their workers. Right, but the issue is, if we don't privatize, where does the money come from? The city. We've had independent audits look at the city's finances. We've had bond credit rating firms look at the city's finances. They haven't found any hidden money. The union says there's hidden money out there. There is none. There's no more to cut.
Is the mayor trying to scare the residents of Fresno by saying we're going to have to cut, we're going to have to close fire stations, putting the city at risk possibly?
I don't think she's scaring the residents. I think she is honestly saying, here's what's going to happen. If this thing, first of all, we're going to put it on the ballot now. Potentially, it could go on the ballot since they've gotten the signatures to stop the privatization. As you know, the council could rescind the privatization motion. They could say, no, we're not going to privatize, but then they have to come up with the money. Where's the money? No, I think what the mayor is saying is, here's the deal. We've cut all we can cut at this point from the general fund.
But is
we're
she
going to have to lay off people.
Is she wrongly blaming the unions? Because even if they privatize, there's still going to be about $2 to $2.5 million in the hole. And where is that money going to come from? She's still going to lay off people.
I don't think she's blaming the unions. I think she's saying we need union cooperation. Okay, she's asked for concessions, as you know, from the police union. Been turned down on that. They're not giving concessions.
Well, the police agreed to certain terms of
right. But not good enough.
Renegotiating the contract.
Not good enough. Okay,
right.
So they have a no layoff clause in their contract, and that's going to come off in the next couple of years. And then Katie bar the door at that point.
Right.
So she can't get the police union to agree. So the bottom line is you have to lay off people. What we're going to see, I think, and she's already said this, we're going to see almost immediate layoffs, perhaps in the next few weeks, few months, etc. And from the union's point of view, from the sanitation workers' union point of view, they are not saying, as far as I've heard, I haven't heard them say, hey, we don't want any layoffs. They're just saying, don't lay us off. Okay, and that's protecting their own. We understand that. The larger issue for the city is, and the voters may have to decide this at some point if it goes to the ballot here, is it worth having these 130 sanitation workers pick up your trash at the expense of future layoffs in the police department, reductions in the fire department? Yeah, the mayor's saying we may have to close a couple of fire stations down the road. There's no issue with that in terms of there have to be layoffs.
Yeah, there was an interesting editorial in the Bee. I read it online yesterday about closing fire stations. You've got a choice. You want to close fire stations, put the city at risk, or do you want to privatize?
Right.
That's basically the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, is that an unfair comparison?
No, I don't think so. I think that's where we're at in the city. Look, we have a very poor city economically. Let's get real about this.
But it was that way before this issue came up.
But we didn't have the economic collapse in the country, and she inherited that in the United States. Everything went south on her as soon as she came in. She didn't create this financial crisis.
Right.
The country created for her. Okay, our sales tax revenues in the city plummeted, property tax plummeted. There's no money coming in. It's a revenue issue and it's a spending issue. Now, we've already gutted. Look what we've gutted so far in the last 4 years. There's no more parks department. It's virtually gone. Streets maintenance, gone. We have had attrition in the police department. While there can't be layoffs, you don't have to rehire if somebody retires or takes medical leave.
Same thing with the fire.
Exactly right. There's nothing more to cut. So it would be very nice. I mean, I'd love to be able to sit here right now and say, man, she's got play. She's got leeway on this. Here's where she can cut. I can't find it. Auditors can't find it. It's easy for the unions to say there's hidden money. Every union says that. They say it with the Fresno Unified School District, Fresno County, when they're in contract talks. There's hidden money. There's no hidden money, folks. It's not magic. There's nothing to come out of a hat. We're in crisis. And that's where we're at. Because immediately, the immediate cause of the crisis is we can't privatize residential garbage pickup. Well, guess what? People have to lose their jobs now.
Why has this become the bone of contention, though? Why is privatizing the center of attention right now for this? I mean, can't they find other areas where they can generate money? I mean, Oliver Baines has suggested let's raise taxes.
Yeah, but where's the support for that? Do you see a lot of support for that in the community?
I see zero support for that.
Yeah, we're a poor community that has a 15% jobless rate. We have a welfare rate of 30 or 40% in the city here. There's only so much money out there. I don't see a majority on the city council waiting to do that. I don't see a large group of people in the city saying, yeah, let's raise our taxes. Let's do it now.
Right. I'm not trying to take sides on this, but I think the union members, and they've been on this program before, I haven't had the mayor on here, but they feel like they're being picked on.
Yeah.
You know, they're the big kids on the block now, and let's make that money grab. Let's grab that money.
It's because it's the only place at this point that anybody can see to have some savings. Again, let's talk about the deal briefly. $1.5 million bonus for signing with this private company, $2.5 million franchise fee a year. That's $4 million immediately,
right?
And $2.5 million over the next 8 or 9 years.
All right, we'll talk more about this. We got to take a break here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno, talking about this trash thing. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you better get used to it. It's not going away anytime soon. Not in the next couple of days, not in the next couple of weeks, and certainly not in the next few months. We're going to be hearing about this through the end of summer, I'm sure. We're back with more of Dennis Hart in just a moment.
I'm Trip Douglas.
Welcome home and stuff.
And I'm Ernie Douglas.
James Bond, Secret Agent 007.
And we're here to tell you.
Ernie!
Just a minute, Uncle Charlie.
Come on, Ernie, you're gonna be late for school.
We're doing a promo for MeTV and Jump.
Ernie, Trip.
Yes, Dad.
Come here a minute, will you?
We'll be down in a minute. As I was saying, Tramp, be quiet. Tramp?
Hey, have you guys seen Robbie? Oh, hi, I'm Katie Douglas.
We're my 3 sons.
Ernie, I had to learn about women like Melissa through long, tough experience.
Let me make my own mistakes. They're half the fun. And one daughter-in-law.
Thanks. Now I really feel like one of the family.
Watch me on Me TV.
You think girls are just boys' gift wrap.
Weekday mornings at 7, 6 Central on MeTV.
It's real neat.
All right, on the air, off the presses on this Monday morning with Dennis Hart and talking about our old friend, the issue of privatizing garbage here in the city of Fresno. What do you want to see? Do you want to see it privatized or not? And, you know, the problem, Dennis, is the fact that, okay, let's say that they do privatize. There are no guarantees beyond the first year that the employees are going to keep their jobs. There's guaranteed 17 to 18% lower rates for the rate payers for 2 years, but then after that, no guarantees of any kind. So that's what the union claims right now.
Well, the union is saying that that privatization is going to result in increased rates, but
after 2 years,
right? Yeah, you're talking 15 to 17% below, as you said, a reduction in the first couple of years, and then small increases over the next life of the contract, which is 5 or 6 years.
That's the problem they have with this privatizing.
Right. Right, but there's no guarantee there's going to be a rate hike, and the union members are also saying that folks are going to lose their jobs after a year with Mid-Valley. Well, why would that be the case?
Lower wages, and after the first year, they're out.
Right, because Mid-Valley still needs people to pick up the trash, right? They're not going to magically have machines that are going to be able to do that. So I think the union is making all the calls that they have to make in order to protect those jobs. Let's face it, it's a job protection thing right now. That's what they do, okay? They can come up with no solutions on where to get the money. There's no denying we're in a crisis. We're in a fiscal crisis.
It's how to deal with it. That's
how
the
to
problem.
deal with it, yeah. And the police union has jumped in on this and backed the sanitation workers union because they see the line in the sand. They see that if this union, the sanitation workers, are buried on this one, who's next? Well, the police are next.
Police and fire.
The contract's up. That's right. That's exactly right.
They're next in line.
We all understand this. The problem is this is bigger than the unions, okay? You know, and Hofstadter's covered this with the B, and I've covered this over the years. We don't see a lot of money out there. Everybody's saying there's hidden money. There's no hidden money.
As a non-biased reporter with KMJ, you see it as the city being at high risk right now.
I see it as the mayor and council of this city having no economic options other than what they're doing. Do I like what's happening to the city? Of course not. Who would like city workers losing their jobs? Who wants the city to have to cut $100 million in spending on such things as streets, tree maintenance, Parks, who wants that? Nobody wants it. I don't see an option right now, and I don't think she does either. I mean, if I saw an option, I would be the first to come on your show and say, look, here's what she could do. Here's where it is. Here's where the money is. I don't have it. I don't know where it is.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. They collected 40,000 plus signatures.
They did.
Okay. But 27,000 of those
yes.
Were valid.
That's
were
correct.
valid
That's
signatures.
correct.
They needed 21.
They got them.
So they cleared it by about 6,000 or so, give or take a few votes.
Correct.
What does that tell you what might happen in a vote?
I don't think it tells us anything about what might happen in a vote. First of all, they were highly motivated signature gatherers, okay, who were trying to get anybody on there. So you got disgruntled people on there signing their names on the petition, and you had 27,000 valid signatures. By far, that is not an indication of the total city vote. Okay, that was 10% or so of city voters. All right.
So it doesn't tell you that. No. That doesn't convince you that they're going to win.
No, because folks who did not sign the petition obviously were a majority of voters in this city. They didn't sign the petition. They get to vote on this if it goes to a vote. It may not go to a vote. Again, the council has the option of saying, you know, you're right. We shouldn't privatize. They could always withdraw that motion, etc. They will have that option. If they do that, then they have an obligation. Here's the obligation they have to you and to me. The majority of that council would then have the obligation to say, okay, if we don't privatize, here's where we know we can cut. The council has historically been reluctant to make those decisions. They really want the mayor to take the heat on this. They don't want to have to lay off people. They hope the mayor does it.
All right, let's take a call here. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me with Dennis Hart of KMJ. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Hey, good, good. Thank you for calling. We're talking about trash today in the state of Fresno, the city of Fresno. What's your question?
You know what? I actually was an employee of the solid waste department for 10 years. I'm not now and haven't been for a few years. The privatization thing, they talk about no hidden money. Is there any way to bring up the fact that there is a surplus every year from the private? I mean, from the solid waste department, the residential. And the commercial also had a
can't be used.
Money
can't be used for the general fund in that sense. Can't be used.
Excuse me.
Cannot be used. That surplus cannot be used to
exactly.
cover it.
But what we could do, can we think outside the box and maybe go in and change the city charter so that that money could be acquired and put into the general fund when it's there to help the city in a whole? And when you give that over to the privates, they do have control over the cost, and they may make a deal for a couple of years, but it's been proven across the country that privates generally are going to cost more for service in the long run. I mean, that's proven in L.A., it's proven everywhere they've privatized. So why couldn't we change the city charter to be able to get that money into the general fund?
I don't know. What would it take to change?
Outside the box. We're doing things the same way that we've always done it, and we end up with the same result.
Well, changing the city charter is a time-consuming, very difficult legal process. It's
what would it take? It's not an overnight deal, right?
No. It would take a long-term study. The council would then have to vote a couple of times on it. It's not something that's going to solve our immediate budget problem. The problem that we have right now is that we have $5 million at least that we have to face right this second.
And if it goes to a vote, which it probably will, it's going to be $6 million.
Yes, because it's going to cost $1 million for the vote, okay? So I appreciate your effort on that one, but it's not a simple fix, and it's a time-consuming problem. The city is facing bankruptcy right now. The city has to pay its bills. As you know, Mark Scott has said, and no one has disputed this, nobody on the council is disputing this, they may not be able to pay the bills, they may not be able to make payroll in the next few weeks for their employees. I don't know whether that's going to bring it home to the city or not. I mean, it's always easy to say there's money somewhere, there's money to be had somewhere. But again, I repeat, the bond agencies and independent auditors have looked at this. They can't find any hidden money. It's not a matter of the mayor hiding money or the council hiding money. We're just in a mess. We are, to use an expression that I've never used on this show, we are economically screwed right now.
Yes, we are. However, here's the problem that I have, and we have to go to break. Respond to this quickly if you can. The city doesn't have any problem wasting money on consultants. Like, let's hire a consultant to figure out whether or not we need to merge the police and the sheriff. Let's hire a police auditor for thousands of dollars. They're wasting money with consultant after consultant.
Well, hang on a second. That's
consultant.
your impression that they're wasting money. First of all, the police auditor is something that's been called for years by a significant number of people.
So you think that's a much needed service?
Yes, I do, because to restore trust in the police department, if there is a lack of trust,
important.
You're paying $100,000. That's nothing. That's nothing on the budget. The other consultants you're talking about, and I've covered this at the City Council, they're $50,000 at a pop to see if we can get federal grants. That's nothing.
But if you add it all up, Dennis, how much money are we talking about?
$200,000 in a $100 million budget hole? Come on.
That doesn't even put a dent in it. Let's take one more call before the break. We do have a call. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you?
Hi, thank you.
Good, good. What's your question?
My question is, what's going to happen if it would go private to that once-a-year cleanup? Would that be an additional, the private sector would be thinking, well, we need to have them pay for this.
I didn't quite hear the call on that.
What's the question? What's your specific question?
Well, that's my specific question. Would they be charging an extra fee for that once-a-year cleanup?
No, that's going to remain the same. That's guaranteed to remain the same. No services will be changed.
So nothing at all. Not that not that yearly one.
No, everything stays the same under the contract.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you for the call. So if you have a used desk or a file cabinet, you can leave that out on your curb. Once a year, they'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Not going to change.
Or you and I will, because we need a used desk, okay? We'd be out there doing it. Come on.
We're going to continue with Dennis Hart here on Connect with Me TV Fresno. We're talking about trash, but coming up next, we'll talk about Jim Sweeney, the ceremony they had out at Bulldog Stadium over the weekend. A very, very touching service on the late Bulldogs head football coach. Back in a moment.
Is taking care of laundry taking too much of your time? Have you become a missing mom? With a new fast, efficient washer and dryer from Ventura TV Video Appliance, you'll spend more of your day the way you want.
This Amana Super Capacity Washer Dryer Pair is now just $6.99, and this heavy-duty Maytag Super Capacity Washer Dryer Pair is only $8.99.
Don't spend your life on laundry. Upgrade today at Ventura TV Video Appliance and save.
On the air, off the presses with Dennis Hart. We do have a call. We don't want to turn any calls away, so let's take that right off the bat here. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you?
Yes, how are you?
Good, good.
I saw a while ago I was talking about the surplus money left over in the residential. And,
same guy.
And we were and we're saying that we don't have time to do that. But that's been thrown out there for 3 or 4 years. If we get started on it now, if we all work together, things can happen. This country wouldn't have been free from England if everybody would have said, well, it's going to take too long to happen. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? We're Americans here. We need to be prideful in what we have here, and we need to work together. And it seems like that the politicians, it's really about money. It's not about jobs. It's not about individuals. It's about, I mean, in a whole, it's individuals, separate people that have money to manipulate this thing around to where they want it to go. You got 100-something people going to lose their jobs. That's revenue for the city that people spend every day. I mean, it amazes me that we say, well, it'll just take too long. Well,
okay. Well, let me respond to that. It is about money. They're not going to lose their jobs. They're going to have a job with Mid-Valley, but the city by law has to balance its budget. It can't be the federal budget and have a deficit. So it is all about money. And as I said earlier, I'm fully appreciative of the fact that people are losing their jobs. It's a horrible thing. But
do you want to do your job for 50%, 60% of what you get paid right now? I don't think you would.
Well, as a matter of fact, when the economy hit, if we want to do that, yes, we all took pay cuts at KMJ Radio in order to keep our jobs. And that's what the city workers have to do. We all
50%?
No, it wasn't 50%. It's not 50% here. But you see, you're calling in and you're saying you've got the answer because all they have to do is snap their fingers and change the charter. Sorry, it doesn't work that way.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying let's get started on this process so that we can, in long term, fix these problems. If we put it up to a vote, that city charter was written in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So we're in a different time now.
We are.
And so we need to think differently. We need to think outside the box. There is money there that could be acquired if things were changed. But we're not gonna go on the same path as every other big city around the country, and we're gonna follow the same demise. We're not gonna end up anywhere different than LA or anywhere else. So if we think outside the box, we might change something here, and then we can be an example for the rest of the country. Man, look what Fresno did. They got it done because they worked together and they can think outside the box.
I appreciate
this traditional politics doesn't work.
I appreciate the call. We're getting short on time, though.
Yeah.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thinking
much.
outside the box, though, and coming together, that's easier said than done. I don't see anybody at City Hall coming together.
No.
I mean, this is like the abortion issue. You're either on one side or the other. These two sides, I don't know what's going to happen in the end. What's your prediction on how this issue will be resolved?
You know, I was thinking about that. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I do not know whether there's a vote on the City Council to take away the privatization. I don't think so. I think if it goes to a vote, it's going to be a vote, literally a campaign for the future of this city. If privatization is turned down, okay, I think the city faces potential bankruptcy. If the city faces bankruptcy, guess what? All bets are off, all contracts are abrogated, people are laid off, we lose control.
Neither side is going to give in, Dennis, because the unions are calling the mayor a liar.
That's
the
right.
mayor is calling them a liar, or liars. Okay, basically, I don't see any agreement there, do you?
No, and the City Council is right in the middle. I think the council members are paralyzed with fear. They don't want to make this decision. They want the mayor to take all the heat. They want her to make the layoffs. They want her to do all of this, etc. Yeah, you have a classic scenario right now, a poor city, and by poor, I'm not talking economically in distress city. There's no question about that. We do have intellectual resources. We have a lot of great people out there, et cetera, present company excluded, of course. But we have the opportunity here to really get ourselves either in trouble. We're already in trouble. The opportunity is to get ourselves out temporarily or to put us closer to bankruptcy. I don't know where it goes. I have no idea.
One final thought on this issue. Do you see the unions as pushing the city closer to the edge?
Yes, but I don't say that with any malice or John Malos or anything like that. I say that because of what the union leaders have to do. What the union leaders have to do is protect their people's jobs. That's what Marina Magdalena's doing. That's what Dee Barnes is trying to do, etc. They, again, I come back to, it's not their responsibility if the city has to go bankrupt. Their responsibility is to save their people's jobs. The irony is,
even if they, for the sake of a lack of a better term, even if they blow their own legs off with a hand grenade that's going to go off in the city?
And that's the problem, because by saving these jobs, they may well be putting the city at risk in terms of future fire protection, in terms of future police protection. That's what the city's going to have to decide. It can't be decided on a half-an-hour talk show, as good as you and I may be, okay? It's going to be decided by the voters, and hopefully we know the campaign's going to be vicious, right? Is it going to be an instructional campaign? I don't know.
All right. Jim Sweeney, the memorial service on Saturday, you covered it for KMJ. Very touching. Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, I think Jim Sweeney cannot be, his legacy in this city cannot be overestimated. He was the perfect man when the city needed a perfect man to come in, more than any other individual I've ever covered. More than any politician, more than any person, he made this community feel good about
what
itself.
Kind of influence did he have on the city, in your opinion?
Tremendous influence. Well, look, Bulldog Stadium's out there because Jim Sweeney won, okay? That stadium was built, after he started winning, it was built with no taxpayer money, completely privately funded. He started filling that stadium, but more importantly than the stadium, he imbued the community with a sense of can-do, a sense of we're not inferior to anybody else. Nobody ever did that in the history of this city. No politician's done that, no elected official. He was a remarkable man in many ways.
They came out. Jan Stenerud, the former NFL player, of course, played with Kansas City. Lorenzo Neal played in the Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer won the Super Bowl with Baltimore. They all spoke.
Trent Dilfer was the most emotional of the speakers. And you know, he works on ESPN now. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, highly successful
MVP Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Trent cried. Trent cried when he was talking about the coach. He said he took boys and made us into men. He said, and he's weeping as he's saying this, he said, Jim Sweeney told me it was okay to cry, to show emotion as a man. He said he would make you feel so good about yourself. He told a story. He said he motivated us. He was crying. It was an emotional time out there.
Right.
Are we out of time here?
We're out of time.
Oh,
it's okay to cry in front of my kids.
It's okay. It's okay to cry in front of me if you want to. Right now.
Okay. Well, I'm crying the blues right now because we're out of time.
Oh, so am I. Let's do it again.
Darn it. We're out of time. All right, Dennis. Hey, we'll see you next month.
We'll be here.
All right, Dennis. Thank you very much. Dennis Hart of KMJ. Sorry. Out of time. No more calls. Tomorrow, the owner of Erna's Elderberry House up in Oakhurst. You ever been there? We'll take you on a tour tomorrow on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Have a good one.
Do you like me?
Just like me.
Like Me TV Fresno on Facebook. Get the latest news, interact with others, watch videos, become a fan of me. Exclusively brought to you by Ventura TV.